Hey guys, welcome to the World Cup podcast. So we did a trial episode of this a little while ago, just before the tournament started, and it went down pretty well. You guys liked it, so here we are, and I am once again joined by Deejam. Deejam, how are you doing tonight on this fine, warm Wednesday evening?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. I think there's a new meaning to World Cup fever now. I'm getting to the point where I've watched so much football that it's actually becoming a fever. Like I'm a bit sick of it. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
But in a good way. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
I'm watching football 12 hours in the day, and then I'm going to sleep
Yeah.
and I'm dreaming about football, and it's just it's overtaking my life. But there's nothing I'd rather take over my life, to be honest.
Exactly.
So we're going to start with England, shall we? That is a good place,
Yes.
considering we are both very big England fans. I think that is a good place to start. And I imagine a lot of people listening to this are probably also England fans. So,
Yes.
what did you make, my friend, of England's performance against Tunisia?
Well, first of all, let's just say football is well and truly coming home. I'm wrapped up now. No second round knockout for me. I've bought an England shirt now. I am ready and raring to go. We're going all the way to the final. I'm going to celebrate my birthday in July by raising a glass to us lifting the World Cup. And Gareth Southgate's going to pull off a miraculous recovery. His shoulder's going to heal, and he's going to be there lifting the World Cup. I'm telling you, it's coming home. It is coming home.
I think the delusion as well as truly sunk in there. Yeah, that was funny, wasn't it, today about Gareth Southgate? It flashed up on my phone saying like injury in the England squad or something. I clicked that. I was like, oh no, I bet Dele Alli's out for the tournament or something, like key player. And then I opened it. It was a bloody Gareth Southgate's done his shoulder. How's that happened?
Oh, I don't know. He's apparently gone out jogging, hasn't he? Well,
Yeah.
that's what he says. We'll leave that to the imagination. All the wives are over, so I'm just gonna pull that one out there. But
Yeah, maybe he's taking the meaning to good spirit around the camp a bit too far.
exactly. But no, in all seriousness,
Yeah.
though, I mean, going back to it, I mean, the opening 20 minutes were absolutely unreal.
Scintillating.
We were all over them, and we should have been about 4-0 up.
Yeah.
It was fast paced. The closing down was good.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about what we were doing was superb. Sterling missed opportunities. Lingard missed opportunities.
Yeah.
Everything was going quite well. And then as soon as the penalty incident happened, even though they hadn't been pressing, they hadn't created anything, they hadn't done anything.
Yeah.
It just completely took us by surprise.
Yeah.
And then kind of limped till half time. And then you knew what the second half pattern was going to be like.
Yeah.
Us passing it around and just trying to break them down. But in all fairness, we didn't stop the passing, no matter how long into the game it went. We kept going, and what a moment. What a moment.
Oh, and we haven't had many of those moments, have we, as England fans over the last, I don't know, you're in your 20s, I'm in my 20s, over the last, let's just say 20 to 30 years, we haven't had too many of those moments to shout about. And yeah, what a moment, Harry Kane. And it wasn't an easy header either, was it? It was like, he made it look easy, but Harry Kane tends to do that. But he really swiveled his neck. He almost like, sort of mugged off the keeper by pretending he was going far post, and then just that little swivel of the neck at the last second to put it in the near post, and it was a great finish. But yeah, I certainly wasn't expecting it, because after, like you say, the penalty was the turning point. After that, we had that really like electric start. And after that, it just seemed to be turning into a game where it's going to be like same old England. I even thought, like, it went into my head a couple of times, Tunisia are going to get a counter-attack at some point here. We're going to lose this game 2-1. But Harry Kane saved the day.
That guy, honestly, he's my hero. Absolute hero. And like I said, football's coming home. It's an omen. We're gonna drag ourselves through now. I'm so psyched. I'm so psyched. I'm pumped. I just can't wait for Sunday now.
All right. Well, we'll save a little bit of this England excitement for a little bit later in the podcast. But let's talk a little bit more generally now about the tournament and how it's sort of unfolding in front of us. I mean, when you consider the recent World Cups, and maybe even any World Cups that you can remember that you actually sort of actively watched, how does this World Cup rank so far to the rest of them? Is it up there?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's been brilliant. There's been a couple of games where some of the sort of like first halves have got a bit slow, kind of getting into gear. But I'd say other than that, to be honest, the majority of games have been class. We've yet to see a 0-0. You know, there's full of instances. We've had obviously red card happen in the opening minutes of the Colombia game, which made that game more exciting.
Yeah,
We've had
definitely.
VAR incidents, penalty decisions that have been finally given, although Harry Kane's weren't given. But we're not going to talk about that. And you know, I just think it's been a brilliant tournament so far. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I've only missed a brief part of one of the games.
Yeah.
I've watched every other. There are some teams in there where you question how they've managed to get to the World Cup, but but other than that, I've been thoroughly impressed.
Any dodgy thoughts about just quickly? Any dodgy thoughts about Russia? You know, because they've won 5-0 in their opening game, albeit against the very poor Saudi Arabia side. Question marks over whether that group was naturally selected. Let's say.
I couldn't possibly comment.
All right, we'll leave that one. But yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It's been a really good tournament. Definitely better than 2010. The way that started, I think, definitely better than 06 to my memory. Sort of the first batch of group games. 2014 though, I feel like that was a really good World Cup for me. Even though England did really badly, I think there were a few good group games at the beginning of that one. But yeah, I agree that it's definitely up there for one of the most exciting sort of. A lot of good moments, you know, free kicks that have gone in. Ronaldo obviously announced himself on the world stage again. Yeah. That game was the tone setter for me, that 3-3 between two of the sort of elites of the competition, the European champions and the, 8 years ago now, world champion Spain. That was a quality game. And Ronaldo now, because obviously we've had Group A and Group B have gone again. So Ronaldo is now on 4 goals. Do we reckon that he's going for the Golden Boot? Who else do you think are the contenders for that?
Well, there's only going to be one winner, it's Harry Kane.
Oh God, you
no,
know this.
no. Ronaldo is blatantly going for it. He's just that type of character that even if Portugal go out in the quarterfinals, if he got the Golden Boot, he'd be happy with himself. Do you know what I mean? He's blatantly going for it. But there's a few that are, they're up there. Obviously, Costa's right up there now. I think. One of the lads from Russia's up there as well, isn't he? Cheryshev or something like that?
Cheryshev, yeah. Ex of Real Madrid. Probably going to talk about him a little bit later. But yeah, he's up there. Harry Kane's obviously got his 2. A couple of other players. Who else? Lukaku's got a couple as well. Messi though, yet to bag a goal, missed a penalty.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, are you happy about that?
Oh yeah. I was watching the 4 games on that Saturday down the pub with all of my mates. Yeah. And because obviously the Ronaldo game was the night before, everything that was going on with Messi, I just kept saying Ronaldo would have scored that. Ronaldo would have passed that. Ronaldo would have dribbled past someone. Yeah. I'm definitely a Ronaldo over Messi man any day of the week. So I'm quite happy. He just doesn't turn up for Argentina. Argentina just don't turn up anymore. They don't, Messi just cannot seem to kick on at the international level.
Yeah, and he does come across as...
But that's just me being biased.
Yeah. But I think he does come across as, obviously, he's undoubtedly one of the most, if not the most talented player in the world, but he does come across as someone who sort of throws his toys out of the pram when it's not quite going for him. He's retired from Argentina once before. Then he came out after he sort of settled himself down. And when he missed that penalty, he just looked a frustrated figure. Whereas Ronaldo, he just thrives off it, doesn't it? He doesn't mind whether it's all about him. He doesn't mind if it's not, like, obviously he does want it to be all about him, but when it's not, he still tries to show up. So I think 4 goals ahead now, Ronaldo, after the second sort of round of group games have got underway. He looks to be way ahead of Messi in that race. Yeah,
he's gonna have to do something against Croatia tomorrow night, something spectacular to even come anywhere near Ronaldo in this tournament.
If he gets a hat trick tomorrow, though, it's all back on. I'd like to see that, but against who are they playing? Croatia, did you say?
Yeah, Argentina, Croatia tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's actually the game I'm covering. But yeah, that's going to be difficult for him to get 1 goal against a pretty decent Croatian-looking side.
Yeah.
So Yeah. One tip I do want to mention, though, is your dark horses that you said in the last episode, which is Colombia, didn't get off to the best start. You already mentioned about that red card at the beginning. Do you think that if that red card hadn't have been brandished, that he that Colombia would have gone on to defeat Japan or get a draw even or whatever?
Oh yeah, definitely. They look up until half time, they were still the best team in that game. And being at 1-1, there was every chance that they could do something. But you could just see in the second half, they just got so tired.
Yeah.
Running around. And then Japan made substitutions at the right time.
Yeah. Got
the winner, and then didn't really have to do an awful lot in terms of sitting back and just watching the rest of the game kind of unfold. Massively unlucky. I mean, it's not unlucky in terms of the red card because it was a red card, but that early on in the game, I don't really understand why he's handballing it. Just let the ball go in, let the game kind of unfold because you know that you're better than Japan. So just let it go in. You're still at 11 men, and then you can crack on. Yeah. But I suppose in an instinct, when you've got that split second to make a decision, you can't really tell how you're going to react. But that kind of swung the game in obviously Japan's favour. But both that and the Senegal result, I mean, that group is completely wide open. And from an England perspective, fantastic because it's then potentially two decent teams that are knocked out and who you could then face in the next round. So, it's happy days.
But then knowing England, the tournament momentum of a Senegal or a Japan is probably going to be too much for us. But I know, it's coming home, like you say, it's coming home.
It is coming home. It is coming home.
But no, I think I do want to get on to a little bit later about who we think are going to progress from each group. So we'll go a little bit over that. But first of all, guys, Deejam and I have compiled a sort of a tournament 11 based off of the first round of group games because it's a little bit unfair to sort of go and consider the Group A and Group B teams that have had another opportunity to show what they're all about. So we're just basing it off of the sort of first round of group games. And I've got yours in front of me right now. It should be on the screen for you guys as well right now. But we've gone for slightly different formations. You've gone for a 4-3-3. Yes. I myself have gone for a 3-4-3. So we'll sort of go... we'll try and do them both at the same time, but we'll have to do it a little bit in a sort of roundabout way. But obviously, every team needs a goalkeeper. So we'll start with the goalkeeper. And you have gone for Ochoa or Ochoa. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I think it's Ochoa of Mexico. Talk to me.
Well, I mean, I was going back through the fixtures and I was having a little bit of a think about it. And he was the only one that I could really see that sort of stood out in terms of making some really, really good saves. I'm trying to think of there was a goalkeeper later on in the first round. I can't remember who it was that made an absolute worldy save.
Was it the South Korean keeper?
Yes, it was. Yeah. That would have possibly swayed it for me, but I just think the way that the Mexico goalkeeper commanded his area against Germany, he came out for crosses, he punched balls away. He was very, very calm every time that he got the ball. He slowed things down at the right time, and you could see him barking orders at everyone at the back four. Yeah. He made some good saves, and to keep a clean sheet against Germany, although it was a team effort, the goalkeeper's the leading point of that. So that's why I'd probably just about give a nudge to him.
Yeah, and I think it's his second, third, don't think it's his fourth, but definitely second or third World Cup, and he does like a World Cup stage, Ochoa. And I do echo everything you say about him. He did look very sort of commanding, and he did, like you say, he slowed the game down when he needed to. He was very sort of tactically aware, and he definitely helped Mexico hang on to that 1-0 lead. But the swaying factor for me was the fact that Ochoa, in terms of shot stopping, a lot of the shots that came towards his goal were sort of right down his throat, or he didn't pull off any particular worldy saves for me. Whereas the swaying factor for me for putting in this guy, who you can see on the screen right now, is going to be the fact that this guy for Iceland, HENDERSON, I believe his name is, he literally saved the penalty from Lionel Messi. Now, that just says so much about you. I think this guy also, I saw on Twitter somewhere, it might be completely made up, but I'm pretty sure it is true, that he got rejected for trials in like the Icelandic B League or something like that. He didn't even make it like 4 years ago. And in those 4 years, he's managed to climb his way up in the football ladder to be selected for the Iceland national team, to cement that #1 position in goal, and then to save a penalty from Lionel Messi. So for me, Hal Dawson, I think I'm saying his name right, just nudges Ochoa out, although I think you've gone for a pretty good shout as well there with Ochoa.
Yeah. I'd probably give it just to you, actually, in all honesty.
Yeah?
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
Okay, right. We'll move on to the defence, shall we? So you've got 4 at the back here. So let's do your defence first, and then we'll move on to my defence. So starting with the right back, I think I'm looking at your latest squad.
Yeah.
Is Kieran Trippier of England?
Yeah. Yeah. He was honestly the best player on the pitch for England the other night. He was absolutely superb. Constantly up and down, putting good crosses in. He got good set pieces. Everything about his game, his passing, his movement, his defensive display when he had to be called upon was brilliant. So that's why I had the Icelandic fullback in there at one point because I was watching him absolutely. He was just colossal against Argentina, but I just about put Trippier in there ahead of him.
It's those 3 lion.
And then obviously centre back wise, if we're moving on to centre backs, already.
Yep, go for it.
I had Maguire.
Yep.
And also Godin or however you pronounce it, of Uruguay.
Yep.
Maguire was just class, commanding the ball, advancing, dribbling, tackling, passing was just brilliant. Again, absolutely superb from him. Really, really was surprised with how well he did.
Yep.
And Godin, at a point where you needed somebody of Uruguay to help them out when they were really struggling in that opening game, he took command of it, made forward runs, urged his team on, barking orders again. Obviously, he managed to keep himself a clean sheet, and he really got himself involved in the forward game as well. Yep. So that's why I just about shaded him. And the left back, I went for Strinic of Croatia, just purely because of every time I saw him with a one-on-one or something to deal with, he was just consistent. He dealt with everything absolutely superbly, and it was just there was no nonsense, no faffing around. Everything was just absolutely superb. The timings were the tackles were timed so well. His marking was brilliant. His passing was good. Everything he was doing was just absolutely colossal. So that's why I've gone with him, and that's my back 4.
Yeah. So well, I mean, like yourself, I've pretty much watched every single game. In fact, I have watched every single game, but the one that I didn't quite catch the entirety of, just because I had to be elsewhere, was the Croatia versus Nigeria game. So potentially a little bit biased that I haven't gone with any Croatian players, because I can see that you've stuck 2 in your team. So maybe if I'd concentrated and see that a little better, then these Croatians might have had a bit of a better shout. I don't think any Nigerians were in danger of getting in there, though, either of our teams, because apparently they have been voted the worst team in the opening round of group fixture, should I say. So, just to make that point there before anyone starts saying, all these Croatian names or whatever. But yeah, for myself, I've gone for a back 3. I've echoed you in that I've gone for both Harry Maguire and Godin, and I think both of these players sort of took the game by the scruff of the neck and just said, in their respective games, I'm coming forward with this. I'm going to start an attack. I'm going to play a cutting edge pass. I'm going to not just, do my job at one end of the pitch. I'm going to try and help out on the other. And especially Godin, because Godin, in a game that was really came down to the wire for them, where it was just a completely sort of flat game, no goals between Egypt or Uruguay. And Godin was just the one player on that pitch that was just saying, look, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it. And he was just driving forward, looking for passes, even trying to shoot sometimes. And the same to a slightly lesser effect with Harry Maguire. I think he just looked exactly the kind of centre-back that Gareth Southgate wants England to be associated with. And he came forward. Maybe once or twice he could have tried to pull the trigger or just take that one extra touch and go for it himself. But, his overall performance was a solid, 7.5, 8 out of 10 for me. And he just did look very good. And he didn't put a foot wrong defensively either. Now, the third centre-back I've gone for is Moreno from Mexico. I think that, generally speaking, that Mexican defensive display, when they clearly got tired after about the 55, 60-minute mark, Mexico, from their, sort of high-tempo play. But Moreno was so disciplined. He was just so solid. So out of the 3, Moreno is my third choice. Now, if we move on to the midfield, let's go back to yours again then, Deejam. You've gone for a three, so basically three centre midfielders here. So talk to me.
Yeah, the first one might be a bit of a shock to some people, but Barami for Switzerland was my first choice. Mm-hmm. He absolutely was fantastic. I spent about 10 minutes just kind of watching him during the first half, and he was everywhere. The moment the ball got beyond a certain line, he was straight in on someone, crunching tackle, putting himself about. Got himself a yellow card, but you know he managed to injure Neymar as well, which was quite enjoyable. I did raise a smile, but he's just a no nonsense defensive midfielder, and you know what you're going to get with him. And he was absolutely superb, and he just ran that midfield for Switzerland, which nullified Brazil a lot in that second half, especially.
Yeah, and I suppose it says a lot about a player that can do that against literally the tournament favourites in the opening game as well. And what's funny is that Switzerland, in more or less every single sort of prediction, just odds-wise, Switzerland are not fancied, and they had an amazing qualification. I think they they won all but one game, I believe, and they had to go to the playoffs to get through, and I think they're very much underestimated. And yeah, Barami had a really good game, so I think that's a good shout to put him in there.
Yeah, and the other two, I've gone with Modric with obviously Croatia. This one doesn't really need explaining. He just bossed that midfield. Everything that went through Croatia was dictated by him. And it's exactly the same with what he does at Real Madrid. He was just on the ball, composed, sprayed balls around, made Nigeria look silly. So that's why he's in my team. And then I've gone with Halfredson for Iceland because, again, very, very sort of similar reasons as to why I was going to put the right back in. He was everywhere. He was colossal. He was just, he stopped a lot of Argentina attacks. He worked hard. Him and Gunnarsson in the centre of midfield just work. It just clicks, and they've both got the same amount of energy and work rate about them. And I was just really impressed with all three. I think all three had a part to play in their particular games. For Modric, it's obviously the attacking side of things, but for Barami and Halfredson, what they were tasked to do, they did absolutely superbly well. So that's why I've gone for those three as my midfield.
Yeah, I mean, I can't fault any of those shouts. Obviously, Modric, like I say, I caught the sort of last, most of the second half of that game, saw his penalty, looked solid. Everything that you said, I saw that definitely in the second half. And yeah, really can't fault any of those shouts. But I've gone for four in midfield. So I've got two wingers and two centre midfielders, starting with who I've stuck on right midfield, wrongly or rightly here. So I've gone for Cheryshev right midfield. How many goals has he scored? 3 or 4? 3, I think, isn't it, Cheryshev?
Oh, yeah, believe so. Obviously, 2 in the first game, 1 last.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so point being, Cheryshev, he wasn't even a starter for, in the first game. They preferred Zagoyev to him. Then he comes on as a substitute. Obviously, sort of, he used to be. I think a few years ago he was at Real Madrid, and he was fancied as an upcoming youngster, and then he sort of fizzled out the picture. I'm not even sure what club he's playing for now, but he came on for Zagoyev, and it was clear to him that he wasn't, the first choice in that sort of position. He comes on, he takes 2 goals absolutely superbly, and I watched that game, albeit against a really, really poor Saudi Arabia side, and I thought, I can understand why you were once on the books of Real Madrid. Great finishes, great attacking presence, and ignoring any potential match-fixing allegations that I'm just throwing out there, he has been one of the best attacking players at this whole tournament. So Cheryshev on the right for me. Going for I'll go for the left mid now, who I've got down as Lozano of Mexico. Obviously, the pressure of playing against the world champions, of having that chance on the counter attack, and everything's just happening so fast. To step past, I think it was Hummels or Boateng, whoever it was, step inside, and then to bury that past Manuel Neuer, bottom left-hand corner. Absolutely fantastic, and he epitomised everything that Mexico were about in that outstanding display for them. He was just always on it, looking for the ball. He was great, you know, had lots of great runs and dribbles with the ball. And that finish just summed it up for me, what he's all about. And I think he's gone to Wolves, or he's going to Wolves. So I'm excited potentially to see him in the Premier League next season. So Lozano for me at left mid. And then the two central midfielders, I've actually gone for two centre mids, and none of which were in your team. So I've gone for Kevin De Bruyne, who just, albeit against a not so great Panama team, who, you know, aren't as maybe as big mugs as we maybe first thought. You know, they did hold Belgium off for quite a while, but De Bruyne came through in that game, cut the Panamanian defence open with some beautiful passing, showed what he's all about, and he's gonna, if Belgium are gonna really show their potential, I think it's gonna come through De Bruyne, who's gonna pull off the passes that he pulls off in Manchester City for the national side. So De Bruyne, I just thought he just pulled the strings, mainly in the second half of that game, but he was absolutely fantastic. And I'm interested to see if he stays in my team after the second round, once they have a slightly tougher opponent in Tunisia. But yeah, De Bruyne are in there for me. And then the other midfield spot goes to Milinkovic-Savic of Serbia for me, who I just thought Serbia looked like a really solid team. Not necessarily fancied by many to go through in that group. I think most people were fancying Brazil and Switzerland, but Serbia, they're going to give both teams a run for their money, I think. They look really, really solid. Against, I think it was Costa Rica they played. Milinkovic-Savic, an upcoming, I think he's relatively young central midfielder, just looked very, very strong in all aspects of the midfield. He looked good coming forward. He knows, you know, where to be positionally coming back, and I just like his all-round play. And I'd like to see him at some point in the Premier League, because as much as his name annoys me, it's very, very long and double-barreled. I just thought it was a quality display from him. So yeah,
I'm not 100% sure about the De Bruyne one, but I do agree with the
Milinkovic-Savic.
Yeah, that's the one. I do agree with that. He was very good. So yeah, I have to admit about Serbia, you know, was quite impressed. I've not backed him at all in anything I've done, prediction-wise, general discussions with everyone, that kind of stuff. I've not been at all with them, but yeah, performed very well, very, very well.
Yeah, and I think, like you say, De Bruyne obviously had a very easy opponent. You know, he's, or not a very easy opponent. Maybe that's a bit harsh on Panama, but he has,
especially when he's
gone,
because obviously they're playing with the 3-5-2 or the 3-4-2-1 or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah,
he's having to come so far back when you just want him to be as advanced as he is for Man City. So that's the only thing I'm just swaying. Probably not against.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I mean, like I say, he's done it against Panama. Can he do it against, you know, England, Tunisia, and can he do it in the knockout rounds and remain in my team? It remains to be seen. He's probably looking to be knocked out of that team unless he really has a great performance against Tunisia. But yeah, I just thought I'd go for him because I just really liked he just really showed his passing range in that game. So
yeah,
that's stuck him in there. All right, I'll go for my forwards first this time, so that because I think, have we got any conflicting? Yeah, I think we have got one or two. But I've gone for a slightly not niche, but probably a shout that some people, or most people, wouldn't go for, to be perfectly honest, and that is another Mexican who didn't even score in the first game, but is Javier Hernandez. I've gone for as one of my three strikers. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, right? I think this is his second or third World Cup. He was once the Little P, the upcoming Mexican star. He was at Manchester United. He was performing really well for the champions. Then he sort of went out of the picture, got sold to... we went to Real Madrid first, so it's not necessarily out of the picture, but he was a bit of a backup player for them. Went to Leverkusen, so his career's gone a little bit backwards, but he's always scored goals. And when it mattered to Mexico, and you can see how much it mattered to Hernandez, but when it mattered, his just presence, his link-up play, his, you know, vocal sort of ability on the pitch, I just thought was absolutely inspirational. And the only thing that was missing from his performance was a goal. So Javier Hernandez, a lot of people are going to probably say, well, there's players like Lukaku and you know, many other players that have scored goals, Costa, who I'm missing out on. But Hernandez, I think if Hernandez isn't on that pitch, I don't know if Mexico defeat Germany. So, and you can see how much it meant to him at the end there as well with with the tears that came out, you know, as the full-time whistle went. He just could not believe it. Well, he could, but it was just overwhelming. You know what I mean? And I just thought the emotion that he played with, and I just really, really enjoyed his performance, as well as Lozano's and as well as Ochoa's. But yeah, Hernandez for me, a niche shout, but he gets in my front three. Interested to see whether he actually bags a goal in the next game, or if he can, because Mexico, I'd say, probably a group favourites now in that group, you know?
You would have to say so. You would have to say.
So, for me, Hernandez. And then the other two, I've gone for the obvious, let's go with Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Who obviously, I said we're not considering the second game, but he's on 4 goals. You can't ignore it. He scored 3 in the first game. That's enough to get him in the team as it is. The pressure on this man's shoulders was huge. One reason the pressure was there was because all eyes are on Ronaldo when Portugal play. It doesn't matter. No one looks at anyone else in that Portugal team. Everyone worldwide, from a neutral perspective at least, and really from a Portuguese perspective, looks at Cristiano Ronaldo to show up and make a difference. That is huge pressure at a World Cup, at your final World Cup as well. So it's going through his head that this may be his last chance to do it. He's playing Spain. He's playing against Spain, who are probably second or third favourites for the whole tournament. And he grabs a hat-trick. I just believe that Ronaldo, like we said earlier, thrives off of the expectation, I think. And to put that free kick away in the manner that he did, in the dying embers of that game, to grab his country a point, it just completely epitomises what he's all about. And Ronaldo for me, an easy one. And then finally for my front three, I've got Harry Kane. Just because, in a similar respect, you know, he's grabbed 2 goals. Albeit they were tap-ins, kind of, but right place, right time. I think you've got to, you know, have a lot about you to, have everyone. I've seen on Twitter so many people mugging him off for the way he speaks and the way he claims goals, and it doesn't faze him. He just says it's noise. If ever someone brings it up in an interview, he's just got the right attitude, and I think that really translated to the way he played, to keep going until the last minute against, let's be honest, and I've had a lot of Tunisians, like we said before, you know, on my channel telling me how much we should be scared of the Tunisian team and their spirit, to keep going until the last minute, to be in the right place at the right time, and to put that header away the way he did. I just thought it was really, really good. So for me, it was between Kane, Lukaku, and wait, who have you got in yours? Let me have a look. Let me just check. Oh, you've got Costa in yours, haven't you? Okay,
yes,
we'll get onto him. But I'll just say maybe a little bit of England tinted glasses, you know what I mean? But for me, Kane gets in there just because of the manner in which he scored the winner and how important that goal was for England. So yeah, that's my front three: Hernandez, Ronaldo, and Harry Kane.
Oh,
so
slight sound problem.
Oh, sorry, you got me? Right, sorry guys, there was a minor technical hiccup there. I think we lost Deejam, or Deejam lost me for a split second. It'll be all right for my voice because I'm just going by my recording, but I think there's a slight connectivity issue, so Deejam's voice may have lagged a couple of times, but I think we're back now. Are we all good, Deejam? You can still hear me?
Yeah, all good, yeah.
So basically I was just rounding off the strikers. Kane, Ronaldo, and Hernandez for me are my front three, and moving on to your front three, sir.
Yes. Well, I've gone with Ronaldo because you've already touched upon it, but just absolutely took that game by the scruff of the neck, dragged his country over the line, and was just absolutely superb. I can't fault the guy at all for his performance. On the left of it, I've got with Cheryshev. Yeah. So I've gone with the same guy that you've picked, just a slightly different formation.
Yeah, I've kind of cheated, really. I've kind of cheated with where I've put him on mine, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I saw a man who came on and was just determined to prove a point that obviously the Russian media beforehand had slagged this team off so much. There was no expectations with the country, and he's just gone, do you know what? I'm going to show you what we're all about. Yeah. And just change that game for the better. So that's why he's in my team. And the final one is Costa. If it wasn't for Ronaldo, Spain would have comfortably won that game. Costa, who often gets a bit of stick because he doesn't fit into the Spain model of play, just absolutely bullied, and I mean proper bullied, the entire Portuguese defensive line, and especially for his goal, he just made Pepe look like an idiot. And then he just gave Fonte the run around, couldn't even keep his balance properly, and that finish was just absolutely superb.
Yeah,
and he held that line incredibly well and just done a superb job. And that's why he's gone in my team ahead of Kane. I agree with your reasoning with Kane, and just purely because of the fact that from every single corner he was being stone cold Steve Austin's to the ground every single corner and free kick.
Yeah.
And he kept going and then got his winner. So I'll give you the Harry Kane one. I will give you that one just purely because the man is just a hero.
Yeah, definitely great professionalism. You just touched on it there, obviously, about Kane being wrestled to the ground in that Tunisia game. Should have had 2 penalties easily.
Yeah.
And that ref just couldn't control anything, could he? He was being so laid back about every single little thing in that game, even when Tunisia were time wasting. He was just sort of wagging his finger and really didn't have a grip of the game, really. Missed 2 clear penalties, didn't even let them go to VAR. And it says a lot about Harry Kane's professionalism, I think, that because he didn't even really moan about them as far as I saw. No. He just sort of got up and carried on, and he knew. It was almost like he knew, I'm still going to score. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I think England, if anyone's going to get England, over the line and into the, quarterfinals, or if we're going to do anything remotely special at this tournament, it is going to be down to Harry Kane, a world-class forward that we get there, I think.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
Right, so there are our teams, guys. Make sure you leave your own teams in the comments, or maybe comments on our selections, and who do you think is better? Mine or Deejam's? Let me know down below. Anyone obvious that we've missed out, let me know as well. And we'll move on to progression predictions from each of the groups based on, I suppose we'll just base it on all the football that's been played so far. So Group A and Group B will be slightly easier, but we'll just move through the groups. So let's go with Group A. I think actually Group A is not worth even talking about because I think that's already been confirmed. We've got 2 teams on 6 points. Russia and Uruguay already through to the knockout round. So let's just say, who do you think is going to win that final game between Uruguay and Russia? And do you think Egypt or Saudi Arabia were unlucky to not get, register any points?
Well, I think first of all, who's going to top it? I would probably say Russia, just purely because of the momentum that they've got at the moment.
Yeah.
As long as Russia draw, they finish top of the group,
and
they will potentially have an easier tie from Group B. So it's got to be Uruguay that have got to come out and attack the game properly. And from what I've seen on the first 2 games, I just can't really see them coming out and taking the game, by the scruff of the neck. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think Russia they're building something very slowly but surely. So I think Russia are going to nick it. In terms of the other 2, Saudi Arabia for about 10-15 minutes of the opening game looked decent on the ball, but then other than that, I've been next to blooming useless.
Yeah.
Egypt without Salah, and you can quite clearly see that he's been rushed back. He's no way near ready to be playing at this tournament.
Yeah.
Without him, they just look average at best. Russia have completely taken me by surprise, but I think otherwise the group has gone more or less as I kind of expected, really.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Sergio Ramos, for ruining Egypt's World Cup dream. I'd probably go along with that. I'd say Russia probably to top the group because I'm sure Sepp Blatter's bank balance is looking very healthy.
Oh, wow.
No, but I do believe that genuinely, Russia and Uruguay, I think, are going to draw just because I don't think that Russia are going to be anywhere as near as good going forward against the likes of Godin and Jimenez as they were against the really lackluster defence of Saudi Arabia and the pretty, average defence of Egypt. I just don't think they're going to be able to put many, if not any, past those 2. So I think there'll be a draw, which would give Russia that group title and Uruguay second. So yeah, that's what I think. But I have to say though, as much as I'm making jokes about the whole corruption thing, I do think that it is good when a host nation does well because it just makes the spirit around the country really, really positive, and neutral fans in Russia enjoy it more. So yeah, good stuff from Russia, really, if I'm being honest. Group B then, we've got Portugal, Spain, Iran and Morocco. Again, we've had 2 played by every single team in this group, and it's looking like Spain are probably going to progress. Portugal also on 4 points up there. Spain currently only have to draw because they're ahead of Portugal on foul play. So if they draw, they go through. And Portugal and Iran, I think it's going to be a very similar game to the game that just took place literally just before we started recording this podcast, which was Iran versus Spain, which was quite backs to the wall for Iran. But when they broke, they looked really, really, threatening. They had a disallowed goal. They had a few sort of headers that, if only they had a world-class striker, probably would have gone in. And they don't look like whipping boys, not at all.
No.
So it could be a very interesting final game, and Ronaldo again is going to have to turn up for that one. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Portugal approach this, because the whole European Championship was based on a defensive display.
Yeah,
and they cannot go defensive like they do, like they normally would do against Iran. They've got to really try and attack this game.
Yeah,
but it'll be interesting because once that game opened up tonight, you could see that Iran have got a little bit something about them that they could potentially spring a surprise. So I don't think that game's going to be a whitewash by any means. But that's going to be a really interesting game to watch.
So, gun to your head, who gets through Group B?
It will be Spain and Portugal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go with that. Who's group winners?
It will probably be Spain, because I think they'll probably score more goals in the last game than Portugal. So it'll be goal difference.
I'm agreeing, but I think it's going to be the reverse order. I think Portugal are going to win against Iran like 1-0 or something like that. And I think actually Spain are going to draw against Morocco. Although I say that, but Morocco sort of, they do commit forward a lot. And I don't know what their attitude's going to be like now they're eliminated, but they looked so good against Portugal today. By the way, guys, quick cheeky plug. That's the game that I covered today for my reaction highlights. So go and check that out. But
nice.
Yeah, Morocco, no mugs, but I do think that I really want them to. This is more that I'm just hoping than anything, but I hope they're going to get a goal against Spain. So I'm just going to go for Portugal to win the group and Spain to progress along with them. Group C, then we've got France, Denmark, Australia, and Peru. They are playing tomorrow. So we've got Denmark v Australia tomorrow, I think, and Peru versus France. Talk to me, Deejam.
I think the top two that are in there at the moment are going to go France and Denmark. I was really disappointed with Peru in the Denmark game. They had the penalty miss. I just didn't see enough from them. They were kind of one of those teams that I was like, I really don't know how they're going to perform.
Yeah.
But I wasn't that impressed. And Denmark are an average side. They've only got one star man. And for Peru not to really kick on during that game was a bit disappointing. And Australia, for as much as their fight and endeavour that they had against France, and they made France look very ordinary. I can't see Australia stepping up to the mark and really taking anything from this group.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be the top two that will progress. France will probably do just about enough in terms of the final game, which will be against Denmark, to really just kind of top it. But France have got to massively step up in terms of their performance-wise for me to take them seriously. I was really disappointed with them against Australia, I have to admit.
Yeah, I mean, I think only they do start quite slow, France, but I would agree. I think they're going to get better. I think France are going to win the group. I think Denmark are probably going to finish second. I have to disagree a little bit where I thought that Denmark are slightly above an average side. I don't think they're a great side, but I think they looked good. Like, Poulsen was very effective. They've got Christensen as well. They've got obviously Eriksen. They've got a few good players, and I think they are gonna nick second in this group. I'm quite excited for the France-Denmark game, actually, which is the last game of the group, I believe. So yeah. So and again, I think Peru. I actually think Peru, along with Morocco, are one of the best losers. They just didn't have the cutting edge. I think obviously the penalty miss just showed that they lacked a bit of bottle. They haven't been here for a while at the world stage, so it's to be forgiven. I think they will get better. I think they might register maybe one win, but I don't think it will quite be enough for them. Australia as well, like they looked to hold a very high quality France to only a 2-1 deficit, and in quite sort of fortunate circumstances as well. The way that just crept over the line from Pogba. Otherwise, that game was heading for fizzling out to 1-1. So I think this group's got four one world-class team and 3, average to above average teams. So it's open for me, but Denmark and France the most likely. France to finish first for me, Denmark to finish second. Yeah, I think I'd agree with you there. So Group D then, we've got Croatia, Iceland, Argentina and Nigeria. Pretty disappointing start, wasn't it, Deejam, for Argentina? But will they progress to the knockouts?
I'm going to say no.
Wow, okay.
I'm going to say no. I am not impressed with Argentina at all. I think that Croatia are going to give them a hell of a game, and that will probably end up being a draw as well. And I can just... Iceland just continue to do it again, and I don't know how the hell they continue to do it at the moment. They're just so... I don't want to be too harsh on it, but it's just such basic football that it works.
If
that makes sense. I think they'll get something against Nigeria. I think they'll get a win. Croatia, Argentina will be a draw, and then that leaves Argentina chasing to get a result against Nigeria on the final game. Whereas I think Croatia and Iceland are probably going to get a draw because they'll both kind of fizzle out. Croatia top and Iceland second. It might be a bit of a big call, but that's what I'm going to go for.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, this Iceland team, they don't play like anybody in the tournament. They play very, very effective basic football, like you say. And they shock every team they play, it seems. So I can see that. I can see Argentina flopping, and I can see Iceland, Iceland getting through, nicking that second spot. But, I mean, I originally in this group went for Argentina first, Croatia second, Nigeria third, and Iceland fourth with no points. But now Iceland have shown that lightning does, in fact, strike twice. It's literally between Argentina and Iceland for me, because I think Croatia are through. I'm just going to stick with Argentina. And bizarrely, I mean, I'll tell you, this is based on utter nonsense, because I saw this video, right?
Okay.
I saw this video, right? And it was this is going to make me sound so stupid, because I actually don't believe in this shit anyway, but I just saw it and it seemed reasonable. Anyway, I'm going to explain what it is. So I saw this video, and it was this guy, and he's like an astrologer, right? And I think I might have explained this before, actually. I can't remember if I did. But he predicts who's going to win the World Cup based on like astrology and the lining of the stars and the planets and shit like that. And he basically like, I don't think he's ever got it wrong before. I feel like I'm getting deja vu. Did I explain this to you last time?
No, you didn't. I'm completely what is the word? Flummoxed.
Perplexed.
Yeah, that's the one.
I must have been explaining this to someone else. But anyway, so it's based on the line of the stars. Anyway, so he takes this reasoning that, or this logic that it's to do with the year, something to do with the year of the captain being born, or something along those lines. And I don't think he's ever got one wrong. So he said that the two teams that are going to win this tournament, and this will surprise you, I think, one of these two teams is going to be either Argentina or France. So that's what this guy said.
Okay.
And he's predicted many, many things correctly before based on this nonsense. So for that reason alone, I'm going with Argentina to progress with Croatia still. But and I mean that is complete nonsense. I like to believe in magic like that.
Yes.
Okay, so Group E. We've got Brazil, who had a pretty lackluster debut game against Switzerland. We've got Serbia, we've got Switzerland themselves, and we've got Costa Rica. What do you think?
Yes. Oh, I mean, it is all down to this Serbia-Switzerland game on Friday, because as I've mentioned before, I didn't really Serbia. Didn't understand what they were about. They got the job done against Costa Rica, and it was just a solid performance. I think Brazil will do what Brazil do, and they will get the necessary win. I'm going to stick to my original guns, and I'm going to say Brazil. I'm going to say Brazil and Switzerland.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
I'm going to stick to it. I think Switzerland will just about do enough to get the result against Serbia.
Yeah.
And then leave Serbia needing a result against Brazil on the final game, which I can't really see happening. So I'm going to stick with my original ones: Brazil top, Switzerland second.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think Brazil are gonna, whether it's first or second, they're gonna get through. There's just way too much quality in that team to not get through. Switzerland and Serbia is the game, isn't it? I think that is the game that's going to decide it, and I think that will end up being a draw actually, which at this point in time works in the favour of Serbia as they've already registered a win. Yeah. So does that mean it comes down to goal difference? I'm not sure. Either way. I think if Switzerland then, if Serbia and Switzerland draw and then Switzerland beat Costa Rica by more than one goal, I think that puts Switzerland through. So, with that being the most likely scenario, in my opinion, I think Switzerland, but it easily could be Serbia. I'm gonna just about agree with you with Switzerland because I just think they are a very, very underrated, really good, strong European side. But I did originally in my World Cup prediction video go with Serbia here to beat Switzerland 1-0, so I'm kind of contradicting myself. But now, sitting here and now, having seen both teams play, very, very close call, but I'll probably just about go Switzerland because to get a draw against Brazil is a lot more impressive than a 1-0 victory against the pretty weak Costa Rica side. So, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to Group F now. Sweden, Mexico, South Korea, and Germany. Sweden and Mexico currently on 3 points, and Korea and Germany, of all teams in this tournament, currently on 0.
Yeah, mad. Absolutely mad. I mean, Mexico will get the win against South Korea.
Yep, agree.
No question. No sort of queries on that part. Germany will get themselves back in and beat Sweden. And I can see Germany obviously winning their final game and Mexico probably drawing as they won't need to do an awful lot in the last match.
Yep.
So I'm going Mexico top and Germany second.
And I am agreeing with you. As much as I'd love to see, I mean, I don't really wish bad on any teams, but Germany have had enough bloody success. South Korea, Mexico, and Sweden haven't. So I'd like to see anyone but Germany in that group. Any two teams but Germany progress. I'd love to see South Korea do well in the last two games, but I can't see it now.
No.
Yeah, I agree. I think Mexico top and I think Germany second. But I think maybe Germany will go down to the wire. I think they might draw against Sweden, and I think they might have to outscore Sweden against South Korea. I think it might come down to that. But I do think Germany and Mexico as well to get through. Mexico to top it. So we're pretty much in agreement on that. Group G, obviously our group, Belgium, England, Tunisia and Panama. I almost want to say, you should never say this, especially when it's your team, but I almost want to say Belgium and England are through now because, Panama, not quite whipping boys, but a 3-0 loss, can clearly see their weakness. I would imagine England will beat them at least 1 or 2-0. I'd hope anyway. You never know with England, but it's just really down to two things. One thing is whether Tunisia and Belgium will end the way everyone thinks, because Tunisia showed England that they are a decent side and they can cause a bit of an upset. So potentially the Tunisia and Belgium game could be interesting, but then really you're thinking, is it going to be Belgium or England first or second out of those two? So what do you reckon? This might be me being a bit optimistic. So Tunisia know that England are going to beat Panama. So they're going to have to come out of their game a little bit more than what they did do. And I think Belgium are very suspect at the back. Especially in their fullback areas when they play this 3-5-2. They are very vulnerable. And I can see Belgium actually drawing this Tunisia. Tunisia will then go on to win against Panama, and I think Belgium will get the draw against us on the final game, because it will then mean that Belgium are having to go out on the attack and we can play our counter-attacking game, which we've got very fast-paced players to be able to do that. So I'm going with England top, Belgium second, just purely because I think Belgium are going to underestimate Tunisia. I think Tunisia are going to come out with their shell a little bit more, and that game will be a draw, and that's the reason why. Yeah, I mean, I see the logic in what you're saying there. For me, when I look at Group G and try and work it out, it changes for me every time, to be perfectly honest. I thought that England were going to draw against Tunisia and then go on to win the group. And then when I was actually watching that game fizzle out into a 1-1 draw until the very last minute when Harry Kane scored, at that point I thought, actually, this 1-1 draw is terrible for us. We're going to lose complete belief and spirit, and it's not going to go how I wanted. And then we actually scored and we got the 3 points. So it's just the Belgium game for me. And it's also the Tunisia-Belgium game, because I don't think Belgium are going to like completely turn them over, a little bit like England couldn't quite do that. I'm going to go Belgium to finish first, right? This is my Jamie's latest Group G prediction, out of about 9. Belgium to finish first, but purely based on outscoring us against Panama. I think we're only going to beat Panama if we do beat them 1 or 2-0. So, although we could win 5-0. I don't know. I'm going to go for Belgium to outscore us and finish first. England to finish on the same points after drawing in the last game. So we're both going to go for 7, but England second place. Which actually, the way that Group H is going, who we're going to move on to right now, could work in our favour, like you say, because we could come up against like a Japan or a Senegal. Not that either of those teams are pushovers, but you know, on paper you take that, don't you, as an England fan?
Oh yeah, definitely. This group is just. This is the one I've been trying to work my head around, and because I can see Senegal beating Japan in the next game, so that moves Senegal on to 6.
Yeah.
Colombia will beat Poland because they'll be at 11 men. Poland were awful the other night. They were terrible. So that takes Colombia up to 3 points along with Japan. And then I'm just looking at the final game. I think Poland will beat Japan because I don't rate Japan at all. And I think Colombia and Senegal will then be a draw.
Yep.
So I'm going to go Senegal top and Colombia second, which then means that England will play Colombia in the second round again.
Yeah. Just out of interest, who will finish third in that world?
That'll be Poland on goal difference.
That you think they'll beat Japan, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This group, very odd, isn't it?
It's tough, isn't it? It's really tough.
Literally, the favourites for first and second are currently sitting third and fourth. So, Senegal, you know, my boy Jose Mourinho, like we said last time, predicted Senegal to win this group. So, do they qualify as group winners? I'm not sure. I just don't know. I think Poland, like, they looked awful. They grabbed, they showed that they can score though. So, like, even when they were playing badly, they scored, and it wasn't even through. You know, when you've got a Lewandowski on the pitch, you know, you can score at any point. But yeah, maybe it's not as strong as we first thought. So I think Senegal and Colombia as well. I think Senegal will beat Japan, like you said, and I think Colombia will finish on either 4 or 6, and Poland will maybe beat Japan. Yeah. I'm going to go Senegal to win it and Colombia second, which in my world makes us play. Who does it make us play? Senegal. So tough game for England if that's the case, but yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. So that's it. We've done our group predictions there based off the first game, but we know it's the World Cup, guys. This is not going to happen. Everything we've said is going to be completely out the window in about 5 days' time. You know, Panama are probably going to beat us. Germany, Germany are probably going to get knocked out by losing. I don't know. All of these things are going to be up in the air. You know, no one thought Germany was going to lose to bloody Mexico in the first game. Nobody thought Brazil would draw to Switzerland. So lots and lots of things that are gonna ruin our predictions there. But that's what we think, Deejam and I, and that's what. Well, basically, we want to know what you think. So let us know what you think about our predictions down in the comments as well. And I think, Deejam, we'll probably round off today's podcast there. But we'll just leave things off with a score prediction for the England versus Panama game. So, what do you think?
I'll go with 2-0. I think Panama are going to do exactly the same as what they did against Belgium. They're going to make it very tough to score against. But the moment we get that one goal, they kind of lost a bit of discipline against Belgium, and I can see the same thing happening again. Mm-hmm. But we're not the kind of team that will go for the jugular unless we absolutely have to.
Yeah.
On Southgate. So I can probably see it being 2-0, and then everyone will just then take the foot off the gas and not really burn themselves out trying to chase any more goals. So I'll go with a 2-0 win.
Yeah, and who do you think is going to score?
I will go with Rashford and Kane.
Rashford and Kane. And do you think he's going to start, Rashford?
I hope so. I really, really hope so, because I don't want to see Sterling missing 3 yards again. I just can't. I just don't want to put myself through that again.
Well, interesting. I mean, I'm going to finish the podcast in just a second, but I just now we're on this topic, I'll just quickly round off with this, right? So, any changes that we predict for the England side as they line up against Panama, like you say, Rashford and Sterling, very, very close. I think Sterling didn't quite do enough in that first game. Obviously missed that sitter. It was offside anyway, so it wouldn't have counted. But the thing is, this is the way I'm looking at the situation. So I would start Sterling again in the hope that he would have a better game against Panama, maybe even get on the score sheet, and then we've still got Rashford in our back pocket for any games in the future. Whereas if you drop Sterling at this point, it doesn't do anything to Rashford. Rashford's still, you know, whether he's sub or he's starting, he's fine. Like he knows he's waiting in the waiting in the shadows to pounce on. Whereas I think it has a negative effect on Sterling if you do drop him now. And against Panama, like I think give him 60 minutes, and if he has a similar performance to that he had against Tunisia, then at that point, then take him off. Bring Rashford on for 30 minutes, and then come the Belgium game, drop him. But I just think to keep Sterling sort of, you know, to not write him off and to keep him on form, Sterling to start. The only changes I'd personally go for would be Rose left back. I'd like to see Rose. I didn't really I think Ashley Young was okay. He had a couple of good set-piece deliveries. He was all right, but I think Rose is better there. Less predictable and doesn't run into trouble as much.
Just gives you more width, doesn't it? More natural balance. And
given that Dele Alli has a slight knock, I would go for Loftus-Cheek to start again over Dele Alli. And other than that, I'd leave everything the same. Yeah,
and that's fair shout.
Yeah, or maybe Trent to come in on the right, but Trippier played so well that you can't really drop him. So
no, definitely not.
Yeah, but Dyer and Henderson, I think Henderson really, really made a great name for himself against Tunisia. I think he's improved a lot from two and 4 years ago. Yeah,
his passing was absolutely superb in that game. I wouldn't drop him at all.
So are you pretty much agreeing with me there, Deejam? Or you still go for Rashford?
I'd still go for Rashford. Other than that, I agree with Cheek. I agree with the Rose thing, but I'd like to see Rashford and Kane try and build up some sort of a partnership together, and that will take us on in terms of the rest of the tournament with those two up top.
Yeah, and then obviously you've got Vardy as well waiting in the shadows, and Welbeck. I feel like we've taken one too many strikers at this point.
You're probably right in Welbeck.
Yeah. Okay, but we're pretty much agreed on that. So pretty optimistic from a couple of England fans here, but what do we know? We're just talking rubbish. Babbling in your eardrums to see what we have made of the 2018 Russian World Cup so far. Just to round it off, then my prediction for that game, I'm actually going to say the same. I'm thinking a 2-0 for England, and I think Panama are going to, put a really good defensive display in, and England are going to leave it quite late again, maybe till like the 70th minute to even get the first goal, and then I think we're going to add another. And I think Kane will get another one, and then I think someone like, I don't know, hopefully Maguire, like one of the centre backs. Maguire would be my favourite choice to get a goal. But I'm going to go for I'm going to go for a 2-0. But there we go. That is going to be it for today's podcast. I think we've gone just over an hour there. So apologies for any sort of connectivity issues that we had during that. I know Deejam's voice went a little bit laggy at points. I'm going to try and hopefully sort that connection out for the next time. Hopefully we will record another episode after the second lot of group fixtures if Deejam's up for it.
Oh, 100%.
100%. There we go. That's what we like to hear. So more babbling in your eardrums from us to come. Hope everyone's excited about that. Make sure you leave all your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Make sure everyone you go and check out Deejam. He's got really good football content, a little bit like me as well. He does the sort of match experience sort of content, and he also does football manager videos, all that kind of stuff. It's really good stuff. So go and check him out. Drop him a subscribe, or a subscription, I should say. And yeah, that's going to be it. I'll see you later, guys. Bye from me and Deejam, and we'll see you later.